My name is Eric. Thanks for checking out our Captain's Table guide on how to play. Today, we'll be covering the types of cards that you'll be playing with, the symbols on the cards, how to set up the game, and how to play. Up first, types of cards. First, we have our Anytime card. If you have an Anytime card, you can play it at any time, regardless of whether or not it's your turn. A good example of the Anytime card is the Hurricane. As you can see, the Anytime card symbol is located right underneath the title of the card. The other type of card is a turn card. Turn cards can only be played during your turn, as the name would suggest. You can see a great example of this in Night Raid, where you'll see a symbol for the turn card directly underneath the title. Now that we've cleared up the types of cards, let's head on to symbols. They fall into two categories: where you are and what you are. There are two symbols that determine where you are. If a card with one of these symbols is not currently affecting you, you are considered on your ship. The first symbol, a palm tree on an island, signifies that you are on land. Being on land will allow you certain advantages. It allows some cards to be played against you, and other cards to be discarded. The other symbol, the water drop, signifies that you're in the water. Again, this allows certain cards to have special effects against you, or you can play certain cards against them. The other types of symbols, the what you are symbols, fall into two categories again. This symbol signifies that the card being played is a ship. Certain cards target ships specifically, so it's important to keep track. The other symbol, that tells what your card is the treasure symbol. The treasure symbol is only located on treasure cards and signifies them as such. Now that we're done with the symbols, let's talk about how to set up the game. The first step is to gather all your friends around the table. Next, take the counter cards out, so they don't get mixed into the deck when you deal them out. Deal one card at a time until each player has 5 cards. Put the deck face down in the middle of the table. The first person to go is the oldest. We're going to assume that they're also the wisest. Play will continue to their right, as you can see in the picture. Once you've started the game, place the discard pile face up next to the deck. As you can see from this setup, depending on the number of players, the deck and discard pile go in the center of the table, with each player having plenty of room in between them so nobody can see each other's hands. While you're playing the game, cards played against you that are currently affecting you go directly in front of you. Once they no longer have an effect on you, place them in the discard pile. Treasure cards go directly in front of you as well. As you can see, counter cards go directly underneath the cards that are affecting you. When you choose to play a card against somebody, place one counter card for each turn that the card will have an effect. Then, place that card directly in front of the player who you wish to play it against. Now that we've learned how to set up Captain's Table, let's move on to how to play. Each player starts their turn by drawing cards until they have 5 or more cards. So, if you have 6 cards in your hand, you won't draw any. However, if you have 3, you'll draw until you reach 5. For step 2, you can play as many turn cards as you would like. As you remember, the turn card symbol is the sword. This brings us to step 3. When you're all done playing turn cards, pick up one card from the deck. This signifies that it's the end of your turn, and then the player to your right will start at step 1. Up next, we'll go over some of the cards and their effects, so you can get a better understanding of each one. Our first card, Jailed, is a turn card. As you can see by the symbol at the bottom right, it is also a land card, signifying that any player affected by this card will be considered on land. When you look at the text, you'll see the first section is in quotes. This has no effect on the gameplay. This card has 3 effects. It will cause you to lose 2 turns, and you can play no anytime cards until your second turn is skipped. You are also considered on land until you draw a card. If you have this card in your hand, what you'll do is you'll place 2 counter cards underneath it, then place it directly in front of the player that you would wish to attack. Once you are back in your seat and have let go of the card, it is considered in play, and its effects will become immediate. Up next is the first card that can remove a player from the game. This card is the Leviathan. It gives the player 3 turns to get to land. If they don't make it to land by the end of their 3rd turn, they are considered dead and removed from the game. However, the Leviathan also has a special ability. No ships can attack you while the Leviathan is also attacking you. This means that no player can play any types of ships against you. Also, any ships that are currently affecting you are discarded immediately. You'll play this card by putting 3 counter cards underneath it and then placing it in front of the player you wish to attack. Up next, we have Sack of Lemons. This is a very handy card because it has multiple uses. You can choose any one of the following. You can hit somebody over the head with it, causing them to lose a turn, and they can also play no cards until they draw a card. Or, you can squeeze a lemon in their eye, causing them to forget to pick up cards at the beginning of their next turn. Or, if you're currently being affected by scurvy, or another pirate is that you want to save, you can play Sack of Lemons against them and remove the scurvy card from the game. Scurvy is another way that you can be eliminated. Up next, we have another turn card. This card allows you to look at another player's hand and trade any cards with them that you would like. The only caveat is, each player must have the same number of cards that they started with. The other player has no choice in what cards are traded. Up next, we have the British Man of War. As you can see by the ship symbol in the bottom right, the British Man of War can be used in 2 different ways. It can either be used to attack another player, which would cause them to not be able to play any time cards for 2 turns. Or, you can use this ship to defend a treasure ship, a different card in the game. Next, we have the treasure card. If you collect 4 treasure cards, you win the game. After you play the treasure card, keep it faced up in front of you. Our next card is Falling Overboard. Falling Overboard causes you to lose 1 turn, and also knocks you into the water, until you draw a card. Our next card, Hurricane, an anytime card, is one of the strongest in the game. It makes all players shuffle their hands and 1 treasure card back into the deck. It also sinks every ship that is in play. These were just some of the cards, but they'll give you a good idea on how to play the game. Thanks for checking out Captain's Table and the guide on how to play. Also, don't forget to check out our Kickstarter page with a boatload of rewards and stretch goals. We also have a Not Safe for Work expansion deck that adds to the fun on a Captain's Table. Oh, sorry about the animation. This was my second time.